from Turning Point to talking with us right now is Tyler Bowyer. Tyler, I can't tell you how sorry I am for your loss. I know how close you and Charlie were.
Mike, thank you. It's been a rough week.
I'd like to talk, if you don't mind, about the relationship with Charlie and what people didn't know about him. We all have a public perception. Those that have watched his videos, those that have followed him and been in public with him. Do you mind sharing a little bit of who he was and what motivated you to stay as closely connected? You are so closely connected to him in Turning Point and other things.
Yeah, Mike, it's I've been telling people all week what you see on TikTok, on the virality, watching the show, everything else is really who Charlie was behind the scenes. I know you may know some of this history, but I was a really young guy who was chairman of Maricopa County Republicans here just a little more than a decade ago. And I just had met Charlie in 2014, saw what he was all about. We shared almost identical values and just that vision for wanting to do things for young people. And it was an easy decision to hitch my wagon to him, and ultimately talking to coming out to Arizona and building this thing the way that we knew we needed to help save the country. But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, but everything you saw about Charlie is exactly who he was behind the scenes. He was endearing. He cared very much about the movement. He always put the movement before himself. What we call and we teach to all of our activists and all of our staff, grassroots humility. He embodied that. And it's something that will live on here amongst our people for the rest of our lifetimes.
Do you believe there will be a movement now of toning down this rhetoric toward each other with the name calling, the fascist, and all these other things that lead to? I think it's easier to marginalize someone. Once you marginalize them, you can dehumanize them, and then it's easier to eliminate them or commit acts of violence. Do you believe that this will motivate a movement of at least toning that part of it down?
I hope so, Mike. I really do. But since the day I stepped foot on campus with Charlie, because that's the heartbeat for everything that we do at Turning Point. Turning Point has become such a large ecosystem. Obviously, we have Turning Point Action, which is our political arm. We have TPUSA Faith. We have so many elements here that go beyond campus. But ever since day one on campus, since I stepped foot on campus with Charlie, I remember being here at ASU. We're going to have a vigil tonight at ASU. But I remember going on campus with Charlie at ASU and thousands of people walking past us. And people would come up to us and scream in our face, 12 years ago, 11 years ago, fascist, and scream you down. So this isn't a new thing that people have been doing, but we've seen it firsthand going into the belly of the beast on college campuses. The problem that you have in America is that there's an infrastructure of outside anti-American groups who have funded this type of rhetoric now for well over 15 years. And we've seen it firsthand because of the work that we do. And I hope that the American people will stand up and say, I didn't really realize what was going on here. I didn't really realize that there was as much vitriol for America, as much hate for free speech as there was. But I would give anything to have my friend back. I would give up everything that we built here, every battle that we fought that has moved that conversation in the right direction. However, in his honor, I hope that every American, every Arizonan will stand up and say, hey, enough is enough. And we can't allow this type of activity to be happening in our states, on our campuses, around our kids.
I've been doing a lot more homework in the days since this has happened, and I'd watched Charlie's videos. I'm so familiar with you and with Turning Point. And what I was always impressed with him is he was always so confident in his positions that he didn't have a need to be insulting. And even when he was insulted, he would ask the people around him, let them finish, let them speak. But I think the anger came from the fact that he wouldn't back down. He stood by his principles. Whether you agree with his principles or not, you had to respect that. And I think he earned the respect of a lot of very prominent people because of that. And it's distorted that he was an angry person, because that's not any of the impressions you get if you watch his videos or have ever seen when he's spoken somewhere.
That's right. And Mike, I spent probably more one-on-one time with Charlie than I have, my wife. We kind of were joking about this because it feels like the loss of a spouse this last week, between me and my wife. I spent so much one-on-one time with Charlie. I watched how he operated in every single scenario where he had a lot of right to fight back or yell back or scream back or make people. I mean, he's a genius. The moment I met him, I told people all the time, he's like an 85-year-old trapped in a 20-year-old's body. I met him when he was 19, and he just was so smart. He could outthink, outwork, outtalk anyone, and he often didn't do that. He oftentimes was trying to win over the person he was talking to, even if it was a paid agitator. And I had many of these instances. I actually just shared on Instagram and Twitter just recently. One of the first, really violent scenarios we had paid Antifa come and track us down when we were in Philadelphia, ruin our breakfast, chase us out of the place. And in those moments, Charlie was trying to talk sense into the person who was the paid person. And he was being so sweet. We got water poured on us. We had people spit on us, people screaming in our faces. And every instance, he never, ever, ever stopped trying to convince that person that what they were doing was out of control. They tried to get them in his worldview, and calmly and in a very Christ-like way, just have a conversation with them. And that example is what we hope what will continue, not just on college campuses, but in churches, out in the public space and in the political space, that you can stand up for your values, but you can do it in a calm and collective way that's going to influence others, because there's always thousands of people watching you. There's always hundreds of people watching you. There's always a room where there's another person watching you. And that was the example that Charlie set out.
So this next question is a two-part question, and one part of it may be too personal. One of them is, how are you? You have to do so much for the organization, and I know you have to be there for his family, but how are you dealing with this personally? You talked about how much you love your friend. I can't even imagine enduring a loss like this with the responsibility that you're carrying. And that leads me to the second part of the question is, so many people are saying they want to be a part of Turning Point, new chapters now after his wife spoke so eloquently. What happens next for the organization?
Mike, we are very blessed here because we have a great team on both the Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action sides. We have two fundamental organizations. USA is really where that's our C3, that's our nonprofit, where we do all the college and high school campus work. That has exploded tremendously. We are understaffed for how many people want to get involved. And so the team is resolved to expand and work and grow on that side. Our TPUSA Faith side, we've seen so many people returning to church. I think one of the things that brought me to tears, and I'm going to try not to get choked up right now just thinking about it, but there's literally millions of messages on TikTok of people returning to church for the first time, putting their faith first, ordering Bibles. The Bible sales have gone through the roof this last week. And Charlie would have loved that, because he had always said, what's my legacy? My legacy is that I want people to return back to church and focus on Christ and have a Christ-centered life and make that the platform for themselves, because everything else stems from that. Your family, your culture, everything else. On the action side, we have seen, I just tweeted this out, County Recorder Justin Heap has committed to printing and delivering as many voter registration forms as humanly possible for the celebration of life at State Farm Stadium this weekend. We anticipate that tens of thousands of people will register to vote, that they'll stop what they're doing, that they'll consider it, and actually register to vote, register their kids to vote. Young people are the most frequent to not register to vote, and especially on our side. And so we are seeing that spike. And so we're telling people, hey, in Charlie's memory, this is what you can do. You can get involved and become part of a Turning Point USA chapter at high school or college. You can start one. You can be part of one. You can join us at TPUSA Faith, go back to church, be involved, get involved in that way. On the action side, register to vote, help us chase ballots, get involved. Here in Arizona, we have elections, obviously, that are coming up. They're so critical. Charlie wore that on his sleeve. He believed in that so greatly, of that civic engagement. And so we're going to be helping people do that for the rest of our lives. And we hope that this will instill people a confidence that they can get involved and we can make it easy for them.
Last question is about the memorial this Sunday. Are people can get into the event, but they have to register? Is it the public invited? Where can they go if the tickets are still available to go into the event? And what time should they arrive with the crowds that you're expecting?
Yeah. First off, I just want to say this again. It's been moving at the emotional and support response from the Phoenix area, from the entire statewide in Arizona. We have already seen an overwhelming registration for it. And, we're doing it at State Farm Stadium this week, and you can go to fightforcharlie.com to register. We obviously right around State Farm Stadium. It's the biggest venue that you possibly could be in the state of Arizona. We're expecting max crowds, but we also are going to have things set up outside as well. We want as many people to be able to show up and participate and hug one another, get involved, be resolved and resolute in the memory of Charlie, but also hear from all the speakers that we're going to have. We're going to have most of the cabinet who are so close to Charlie, who care so deeply about us. Vice President Vance, who's hosting Charlie's show as we speak, is on all day long. He's been a great friend to all of us for a long time, as has the president. And we're praying for Erica, because it's such an impossible day for, even in a private situation, for this to be so public is hard. But I know that she is feeling the support, and she's feeling the love, and she's feeling the prayers. And that's why we want everyone to come participate. So if you can go to fightforcharlie.com, come down to State Farm Stadium, participate. We want everyone there praying together and hearing the stories and spending that time together, because I think it's going to be a transitional moment for the country.
Tyler, thank you so much for your graciousness in coming on. I know it's such a difficult time, but talking to my audience means a lot. We sure do appreciate it, and I wish you the best and hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.